Hail Thor! Hey Tubi, Psychic Bob here. Well, I'm here with my little statue, or I think it's an action figure of Thor, but I call him a sacred statue because there's a lot of mystical truths in the modern depictions of Thor. For example, if you look at this picture, he looks very Nordic. Well, Thor comes from the Scandinavian countries of Norway, Sweden, Denmark, the Nordic countries. And anyways, he looks very Nordic. And you see, I have a theory about Thor. First of all, I believe that Thor is real. By the way, I'm wearing a Thor's hammer today. Thought I'd show that to you. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to wear it even if they make it illegal. But I'm wearing Thor's hammer, and I've got my image of Thor here. And why this is important, I think that in the ancient Nordic culture, there are great mysteries that are coming to light. You see, I believe that life on Earth started from out in the stars. I believe that our planet was seeded by the Pleiadians. The Pleiadians belong to the star cluster, the Pleiades, or commonly known as the Seven Sisters. In fact, I'll put a picture of the Pleiades star system up here. Check this out. And so many people who have encountered UFOs over the years have said that life comes from the Pleiades, at least Earth life. And I believe that the Nordic race, particularly the peoples of Northern Europe, have a very strong genetic history and a link with the Pleiadians. I have a belief that the ancient gods of the Norse pantheon, such as Odin, such as Thor, Loki, all of them, may have actually been Pleiadians. Think of it this way: if an ancient culture encountered beings who had immense power, could fly through the sky, had weapons that light emitted from, would they not be like gods? And if these people looked just like us, would we not feel a kinship or a connection, and in the case of the ancient Nordics, a reverence for them? I think we would, and I think that they did. And so I believe, and this is no blasphemy to my Asatru followers, I'm a Wiccan, but I believe in worshiping many of the Norse pantheon, the Nordic pantheon. Thor is one of my deity forms, but I believe that Thor comes from the stars. And I believe that the peoples of ancient Norway and Iceland and Greenland and Finland had direct encounters with the ancient gods. And so it's not just mythology, it's actual history, recordings of a connection. You know, they talk in the ancient literatures about Thor battling the frost giants. Maybe the frost giants were another form of alien that came to Earth, and maybe the Nordic gods, who were actually Pleiadians, helped defend the Earth. Maybe that history is a literal truth. Something to think about. You know, I believe that the Pleiadians not only seeded life on Earth, I believe that they seeded life on many of the planets in our own solar system. One of the planets that also has life on it, yes, it has life on it, is the planet Venus. And Venus is believed to have people who look exactly like us, humanoid. We're not talking about the gray aliens with the big eyes. We're talking about people in flesh and bone bodies who look very human. And there are many people, such as George Adamski, who had direct encounters with people from the planet Venus. And they alluded to the fact that their cultures came from even higher up cultures, such as the Pleiades. And so we are directly connected to the Venusians, to the Pleiadians, and also even the Martians. Yes, Mars currently has life on it. Now, what's interesting is, from Mars, there keeps being anomalies appearing on the surface. Images of light, columns of light, all this sort of stuff. We've talked about that before on Mars. But also, a lot of times people don't talk about Venus because back in the 1970s, one of our Earth probes went to Venus and said there's no life there. Well, think of a probe from Venus landed in the middle of the Sahara Desert and looked around. What would its conclusion be? There's no life on Earth. But that's not true. I believe that the Venusians, most of them operate underground because the current climate on the planet is hostile. So when the scientists say, oh, it's an acidic environment, there's storms raging, that's probably all true. There's a lot of evidence for that. But I also believe there are beings that live below the Earth. Another theory that I've heard postulated is that the beings on the planet Venus oscillate at a higher frequency, and so they operate kind of on a dimensional, multi-dimensional level. For example, on Earth, we have beings that are earthbound souls, that are spirits that live on this Earth, but they operate at a different frequency. They're outside the visible range of most humans, but they still exist and are beings of consciousness on Earth. These are earthbound souls. I think that the life forms on planet Venus either live below the surface or they may operate on a frequency that is a higher vibration than our current understanding of physics. And so this would allow life to be on the planet Venus. Now, back in the 1950s, George Adamski claims to have met people from Venus and even went on one of their motherships. They have these giant ships that are like cigar craft that fly over the Earth. A lot of these have been photographed, and everybody says, ooh, who are these ships? Where do they come from? Well, for those of you who have studied ufology, you know that since the 1950s, these ships have been reported, and the people have encountered, there are people who have encountered those ships directly and their inhabitants, and they claim to be from Venus. So the giant cigar-shaped ships are the Venusian mothercraft. I'm going to put up here some pictures of the Venusian mothercrafts for you to see. Take a look at these. Yes, those ships do come from the planet Venus. And as I said, the Venusians are humanoid, just like us. They look like us, same skin, same body structure. Everything's pretty much the same. I've heard some people say that their internal organs are slightly different, the arrangement of them and the lung shape, but to see them walking around and to speak with them, you'd know no difference. So when we look at ancient gods like the god Thor, I want you to consider that the ancient gods may not be mythology, but may be real beings. Now, many of us who are Wiccan or Asatru actually believe in the gods as real beings already. But we always say, oh, they come from the spiritual realm, they come from Asgard over in the other dimensions. And I think that's true as well, but maybe they come from Venus, or maybe they come from the Pleiades. So I do believe that our Earth has been encountering beings from other worlds, such as Thor. The Thor is not a mythological person, but he's an actual visiting alien. Some people claim that even today they have encounters with Thor. I've heard people say that there are people who, during a ritual, will conjure Thor and he appears in the circle. Or sometimes people have said they've been out hiking and they're approached by a tall man who looks a lot like the traditional representation of Thor, and he gives them knowledge. You see, I believe that those who come from the stars have really been here a long time and maybe never left, or maybe they're just reappearing. But the fact is that we're going to find in time that the cosmos ultimately is one. We're here, they're there, and we actually will ultimately mix and mingle back and forth between us. And so when we say Hail Thor, I want you to know that this isn't just some myth. I believe that there is actually a person named Thor, and I believe that this Thor interacts with the earth to bring us wisdom, protection, and enlightenment. The stories of Thor have him as a god of thunder. It says he flies through the skies, he throws lightning bolts. Well, could not an alien spacecraft crossing through the skies, emitting light, be very similar to Thor crossing in his chariot? So I think we have to look at the old myths through new eyes and new understandings. And I have to say, I believe that the ancient Norse pantheon is directly connected to the star people. Whether that's Venusians or Martians or Pleiadians, I'm not 100% sure. But ultimately, all of the humanoids that, at least in our solar system, do come from the Pleiades. So ultimately, we're all Pleiadians. And so Thor is a Pleiadian. My 2 cents on that. Anyway, something for you to think about. I'd love you to tell me in the box below, what are your thoughts on Thor being a Pleiadian? Could the Norse gods actually be aliens from the stars who have come to Earth? Think about that. Now, that in no way lessens their mystery and power and divinity, because all of us within carry divine power. So you can still honor Thor as one of your gods, even if he comes from the Pleiadians. Doesn't matter, because he is an advanced being. And really, you know, all of the aliens from the other worlds who have talked to Earth people have said that they have mastered spirituality in their worlds. They understand the concepts of the soul and soul travel. And so they can come and cross between dimensions and see us and connect with us. So if you have a faith in Thor and the ancient Norse gods, don't let this make you disbelieve in them. Just know that that makes them even closer to us. In Wicca, we don't really have the concept of groveling at the feet of a god. If Thor were to walk into the room, we would honor him, we might bow, we might address him as Your Highness, out of reverence and respect. But in Wicca, the gods are our friends, they are our allies, they help us and we help them. It's a partnership rather than a slave and master relationship. Some religions say that the god is a master and we are slaves. The Norse religion is more like, think of the gods as kind of like Catholic saints. The saints, you know, like Saint Jude, Saint Mary, Saint Joseph. The saints in the Catholic tradition are friends to the Catholics. They respect them and honor them, but they don't grovel at the feet of the saints. They have a friendship. And this is how we should think of our gods, not as a master and slave, but as one of friendship where we help each other to grow, to learn, and to evolve. And so I recognize Thor in my pantheon of divinities as an advanced soul, one who has gone before, one who has not more knowledge and power, one who I can call upon and learn from, and one who may one day take me to the stars and show me the truths of his world and of the cosmos. Anyways, tell me below what you think about this. Is it possible that the ancient gods, particularly the Norse gods, could be from the Pleiades? What do you say to that? What do you think? Have you ever heard of this? Is it possible? Maybe you disagree. That's okay too. Let's have a discussion. Tell me below. Guys, listen, thank you for being here. I'm going to keep this short today. I got a lot going on, but I love you. If you didn't see yesterday's video, please check that out. We have Vlog Thursday. We had a lot of fun. Went out and had some lunch together and hung out. I've enjoyed it. Thank you for all of you who came out to that video. And listen, so many of you have been calling for readings. I'm still catching up here. But if you want to get on my schedule for a reading, I still have a few openings for this upcoming week, next week. So give me a call, 703-825-3929. Call me soon because I fill up usually like a week or two ahead. So if you want to get on, call me now for next week. 703-825-3929 is my number, or write to me, PsychicBobHickman@gmail.com. Look forward to hearing from you. I love all of you. Blessed be. And let's all say, Hail Thor! I'll see you back here tomorrow, guys. Blessed be.